We're going to start this meeting. We just got done with our ECA meeting, kind of covering similar questions and concerns. So it should help us be a little bit more knowledgeable in this meeting. I'm going to start. First off, I want to tell you, this is an interesting time because I did send out an email talking about being the old dog. And I am sitting here at my desk, and I have an iPad, and I have a Chromebook, and I'm YouTube live streaming from my Chromebook, and I'm Zoom meeting from my iPad. I have my phone over here where I'm taking questions. I have my laptop on with my screen here with notes to talk about. It's crazy. It is one of the most crazy things ever, and I love it.
Video, you hit that.
I love it. So anyway, all right. So we're going to start. We're going to talk a little bit about. Well, first off, I want to thank you guys for coming, and I want to thank you guys for continuing to be patient with us as we work. We'll see you later, Jeff. Bye. As we continue to work through schedules and teachers and craziness, and it's just a unique situation, and our parents have been amazing, and we're very excited. We're so excited to get started. Our teachers are chomping at the bit to get your students in class and teach them some stuff. And so that being said, I want to remind you guys that we're always available for questions and answers. I do have I think let me see if I can pull up my thing here. Okay, so there's a few people I want to introduce that are in this conversation right now that I know for sure. Miss Estelle, Sue Estelle is our tech guru. She will mute or unmute you depending on how good you are, and you can ask questions. Eventually, we'll get to some live opportunities to ask questions. And so there's the magic bell. So she'll help you there. I have Miss Florence is in here somewhere. And there she is. I can see her waving. And so Miss Florence is our assistant principal, and she does the bulk of all the hard work. I'm just the beautiful, pretty face, and she's the backbreaker and the beast behind everything that happens. Same thing with Miss Ramsey, who I believe is in here also. And so Miss Ramsey is our counselor, and man, she counsels so many kids. I saw John Glazier, who is one of our teachers, part of our leadership team, and our planetarium director. And I don't know if Miss Lopez is on here. Chanel is our dean of students, and she works with Miss Florence on a lot of stuff. I saw Miss Gordon in here. She's one of our teachers. Boy, this room is full. I don't know who else is in here. I'm excited. So let's get started. All right. Let's start. How about if we start with the bell schedule? Does that work?
Yes, hang on one second.
Wow, second meeting's already full. Miss Ramsey had to go to YouTube. Poor her. That's okay. Watch us on YouTube, guys. You'll be able to enjoy it. I've never done YouTube live streaming, so it's pretty cool to be the first time to do that. Okay, Miss Estelle has put up the CEC schedule for this fall. And when you look at those times, they correspond pretty closely with what we did last year. They also correspond very well with the bulk of the home high school schedules that we've received. Okay, we will not have any CEC classes on Monday. Okay, so Monday might be an opportunity for a student to reach out to one of our teachers for some tutoring or some questions, but there are no actual physical classes with the exception of LPN nursing. And that's a whole other story that we won't even really talk about right now. CEC will be Tuesday through Friday. And let me delineate the classes. We have a CEC session 1, which is periods 1 and 2 at your student's home high school. And there's a lot of the classes that are in that session. That time period is roughly 7:30 to 9:45. And we'll talk about what we expect from teachers and from students in terms of learning. We have session 1C, which used to be Monday and Wednesday and is now Wednesday and Friday. And that's a couple of language classes, vet med, a couple of other classes. And then we have session 2, which meets every day. So they will now meet Tuesday through Friday. And that's periods 6 and 7 at the home high school. So each of your students will have a placeholder that says 6th and 7th CEC period placeholders. And those classes will meet every day, Tuesday through Friday, from 12:30 to 1:50. Kind of. That's a time frame. That's not necessarily the schedule. And then we have session 3, which is a session that we have after school. It runs from 2:15 to 4. And we have those classes on Tuesday and Thursday and Monday and Wednesday. But now Monday, Wednesday classes will now be Wednesday, Friday. Okay. And then we do have a few classes that are actually Tuesday through Friday, like EMT I think EMT is actually just 2 days. There's a couple of classes, not very many. Most classes are Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. And there's a lot of those classes. You can go to our catalog to see them. Your students will know what they're in. Okay, so that's kind of what the schedule looks like. So we might as well talk while we're doing that. We might as well talk a little bit about the type of learning that your students will do. There's 2 types of learning. Many of us had to Google these things because we didn't know what the heck they were. There's asynchronous learning and there's synchronous learning, okay? Synchronous learning is learning that's going to be online. It's distance learning, but it happens in real time, okay? So it's going to occur in a specific time frame. So if they were doing synchronous learning in session 1A, it would be 7:30 to 9:45, okay? And let me see if I can, and so, okay. So that is sometimes sit and get a lecture. It could be video conferencing. It could be teleconferencing. It could be live chatting. It could be Socratic seminars in a classroom setting, but it's a specific time. Some of the advantages of this type of learning, and guys, you're going to hear the same spiel from the homeschools because they're all doing the same thing. I'm sorry, Ms. Florence, if you're out there, that link is in your email.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't know how else to get it to you. So some of the advantages of synchronous learning are classroom engagement. Kids can go, they can see their teacher, they can see their classmates, they get immediate feedback. It's a little bit more active. There's a lot more personal feel to it. The thing, they can sit in the chat room and ask questions to the teacher or to other students. It's a little bit better. It's a lot more dynamic learning. It can sometimes be a really good way of learning. There's a lot more of that face-to-face video conferencing type atmosphere. It's a lot of what we did in the spring, okay? It allows for a little bit more instructional depth from the teachers. You interact regularly. You have a schedule. You get to see your teacher. You get to see their face. You get to, and you know, that facial piece of it, seeing people's faces, is very important right now. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But there are a couple of disadvantages. One of them is it's a rigid schedule. This is your time. Come then. You don't get to mess around. You got to be here from whatever, 7:30 to 9:30 or whatever the times are. And then it also doesn't account for technical difficulties. You have some connectivity problems. You have some other issues like that. You're going to struggle in a synchronous learning situation because maybe you can't get into that room again, or maybe you lost the internet, or maybe your device, the battery charge went out, whatever. Those are some of the problems. Now, the asynchronous learning can be a cool way of learning, especially if you're very motivated. It happens on your schedule. So if your student says, dang, I really don't want to learn today, so I'm going to go check in and get my assignments, and then I'm going to do them tonight at 5 o'clock when I'm feeling a little bit better. They can do that, okay? But you know, teachers will post a lecture maybe, and they can go watch the lecture, or a teacher will post a video, and maybe they have to watch that video 4 times before they fully understand it. In an asynchronous environment, they can do that. And so that makes it pretty cool. The flexibility is the biggest plus to that, but asynchronous learning works best with students that are motivated to learn. And CEC and ECA teachers are going to do a combination of asynchronous and synchronous learning. So are all of the teachers at the home high school. They're going to be working to provide some face-to-face, and then also provide some learning opportunities. And then when we do transition to yellow, which is where we will have face-to-face half the time, online learning the other half, asynchronous learning, to be an asynchronous learner is going to be advantageous for all of our students. It allows for students to pace themselves, to work at their leisure, and to work at their own pace. So if they have a lesson that is posted and it might take one student an hour, but it takes them 3, or the other way around, they work at their own pace and they can get it done faster or whatever. You get to shape your learning experience based on your needs. And so that's pretty cool. So one of the biggest disadvantages or a couple of the disadvantages to asynchronous learning is isolation. You don't get to log into Google Meet and see all your friends or see your teacher. You are going to their website and you're clicking on a link and you're pulling up a video, or you're pulling up a TED Talk, or you're pulling up a lesson plan. And so there is no interaction. And that isolation is important, especially given that so many of our students have not really seen very many people since March 10th. So we need to, and there's also a little bit of a when you're working in a self-guided environment, there are some opportunities for apathy to develop. Like, oh man, I really don't feel like doing this. Maybe I'll get to it tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes 2 days later, and then all of a sudden you just forget to do the assignment. And so not having that interaction just really creates problems. And that's why we want to work on a combination of both. Okay. I do want to tell you that we're pushing for our students to teach both ways, synchronously and asynchronously, but we really do want your students to check in every class period, at least to check in and get assignments or to see what they need to do, and then move to the asynchronous part if that's what the teacher is doing. That's going to be up to each teacher. One of the beautiful things for us here at CEC is our teachers are pretty amazing, and they are going to do everything they can to provide an amazing education to your students, and we're excited about it. I do want to tell you, for those of you, because there's a lot of you on YouTube right now, sorry that we can't. We're going to get better at this, and we'll get that schedule out to all parents. I'll send it as soon as I can. I just can't send it right now, so I apologize for that. So we're kind of moving.
We can put the schedule. We'll put the schedule up on the website as well. So
okay, perfect. We'll put the schedule on the website. Miss Estelle will have a great place for it, and you'll be able to find it right away. And that way you can see what we're doing.
Look for the remote learning badge on the website.
Yes.
There is a badge called remote learning. APS has put it on every school's website. And that's going to be the starting point for finding out information about remote learning.
And so for those of you on YouTube, our website is cec.aps.edu. And we're making improvements on it. We're kind of rebuilding because there was it's an interesting story I don't want to get into, but we're putting together quite a wonderful website right now with all of the information we need for all of this remote learning. And in fact, I'm going to just segue that right now, Miss Estelle, into the staff directory. That makes sense. So we might as well talk about that. So do you want to pull up the website like you did with ECA was perfect. So if you want to repeat that, that's awesome.
Okay, so here's our website. And there are a couple places,
cec.aps.edu. Sorry.
right? And there are a couple places that you can go to look for information. As I mentioned, every school now has this remote learning badge. You can see where my cursor is circling. If you click there, it's going to take you to a landing page where there's going to be all kinds of information. This will be much more fully populated in just a day or two, with the schedule, with other pieces of information. One of the main links here is to the teacher page, which also can be reached under the Contact Us tab at the very top of the website. There's also the teacher page. Right now, this is the straight out of the box template that the School Loop hosting software provides to us. And you may all be familiar with the little blue envelope that gives you opportunity to email teachers. We're going to be replacing this with a directory page that will have much more information and links to teachers' websites, where those teachers will have much more information about their classes, their contact information, their schedule, their links to their Zoom or Google Meet or whatever platform they're using, materials that they may wish to distribute in advance or concurrently with the class, like summaries or book lists or supply lists or whatever. So when you come to the website again and you go to Contact Us and Teachers, you'll see the new directory page. When you go to remote learning, you'll see the latest information that we have on what's happening with our remote learning. And you also have a link to the teachers there. And this is me. I'm Sue Estelle. This is my email address. I will also post my number there. One of I do not mind being contacted by students or parents. I just ask you if you want to call me, to text me first and identify yourself so that I know who's calling me. I tend to not answer calls from unidentified numbers, particularly if it's not during the school day. So if you text me first and let me know who you are, then I can make sure to respond to your call. So so this is the website, and as Mr. Arguelles said, it's kind of under construction. We just had it rebuilt to include these new badges, and so we're trying to fill in the gaps. Anything else, Mr. A?
No, that was pretty good. Thank you. Hey, Ms. Florence, do you mind taking over and talking about something for a second? I'm going to send an email out to some of the parents on the YouTube that are asking for the schedule, so they can at least see that. Okay. So if you could do that, I would really appreciate it.
Which item? How did you stop at?
We just so we're right at the staff roster. So whatever's after that. Perfect.
Then it looks like it's a parent view and student view. If you want to see your students' schedule, I believe you can view them now. If you go to the tab on the left that says class schedule. So if there's anything on there that doesn't look correct or needs to get added, for sure you could send an email to either myself or Miss Ramsey. Miss Ramsey, I'm not sure if you already put your email in there. But yes, that's going to be a good one-stop shop to see your email, to see your schedule, and to email your teachers and receive them as well. Some other questions. Know that they're going to have advisory at your home schools. If your student is needing any support with social emotional, their home school should have a good system in place, but if there's anything they need or if they're having any troubles here at CEC or with those classes, Ms. Ramsey or myself are here to assist.
A lot of people are asking or mentioning that they cannot see their CEC classes on their schedule. And up until yesterday, a lot of teachers weren't seeing their schedules in Synergy. So it's very possible that that may change, and even in the next 24 hours as the folks at Synergy get information loaded. But if you're having problems still seeing schedules tomorrow, Friday, please contact Ms. Floriance or Ms. Ramsey.
Yeah, I did just see that. Yeah, some high schools have not released schedules yet. Their scheduling is always a nightmare, period. So in this time right now, we're registrars and counselors and curriculum assistants and people are working from home. It's even more difficult. You can imagine not having a face-to-face interaction with a person means that you have to wait for a phone call or wait for an email to be answered, or there might be confusion about your question. It's really tough. So we're working on that. But I will tell you, we have 1,435 students enrolled in 1,636 seats or something like that in CC. We have a lot of students. Wow, that was a nice echo. A lot of students in CEC right now. So we're hoping that we can keep as many of them as possible in their CEC classes, because we're excited about the learning we did last year in the spring, despite the fact that most of our students didn't even have to come to class and they would have got a pass. I think they wanted to learn, and they came and they learned, and they did some pretty cool stuff. I loved how creative our teachers were, and we're expecting the same from them. Okay, it was pretty cool. So Ms. Florence, I now, because I sent that email, have lost your email, which really stinks. And so now I can't seem to find where you had questions. So can you tell me what's next on your list?
I think we're done with that.
Here.
I think there's more questions on the chat.
Okay.
And some of the CEC, if you can't see your CEC class on your student's schedule, send an email to Ms. Ramsey or myself. Or do you prefer to be you, Ms. Ramsey?
Yeah, if that's okay, I think just having one stop or shop would be easier for us to kind of figure out. It's super important that the schedules are reflecting the CEC class, because that is then in turn how the teachers are going to be reaching out to the students through Student View. So if they're not enrolled, they're not going to get that contact to initiate starting the class. So just email me and I can look it up, and you might not be able to see it for a few days, but I can at least check that it's there. And I'll put my email in the chat again.
And Lynn, I just put your email in the YouTube chat. So so those people, any of you guys on YouTube, you can go ask Ms. Ramsey all the questions you want, and she'll answer every one of them, maybe.
So there was some questions about registration. Everything's an online registration. It's going to be all online. We are having ECA come to pick up textbooks. We're not yet there for CEC, but we'll send that out when that time comes. Okay, so there shouldn't be any, you can call or email us to make sure your schedule looks right. And that's all that needs to be done for CEC at this time.
Okay, yeah. And so in the YouTube chat, I did just see a question about connectivity, and we talk a lot about the internet and connecting to the internet and all the problems that we have and the support that we can give you. I do want to tell you that the district is really wanting every high school student to have their own device, and they're willing to check out a Chromebook to every student. And let me tell you, the nice thing about this is Chromebooks are way better for your kids than using their phones, okay? And there are a lot of opportunities around the city to get connected to hotspots. The Comcast, CenturyLink, Spectrum, the city of Albuquerque with their buses, because I didn't know this, but buses have the internet, and so they're planting buses around the city. CenturyLink and Comcast have set up hotspots, and we have been told that by the time school starts, there should be no place in the city of Albuquerque where you can't go to get a free hotspot. So if you have 4 kids at home and yourself, and you're trying to connect to your internet wirelessly, and you're struggling, I don't know, send your high school kid out in the front yard and see if they can connect to a hotspot, or send them to the Starbucks, or send them to a bus stop. Every comprehensive high school also will have hotspots available for students, so they could actually drive to the parking lot. Not ideal, guys, and it's not anything we want. We'd love to see them sitting at home on at a desk with their computer working, but sometimes we have to improvise. Just some of the ways they can improvise. Also, Comcast has reached out and is more than willing to work with students, maybe that are free and reduced lunch, or that are having some financial struggles, like many of us, and they'll figure out a way to try to help with connectivity by providing internet access. We're going to do everything we can to make it happen. I don't know. What other questions are there, Rebecca? I can't see the chat, by the way, so that's my bad.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
so we have a couple of people who've asked about when they need to begin attending CEC classes.
Excellent. So,
Do you need the schedule back up?
no, that's okay. I don't need that. So our CEC teachers are going to reach out to the emails that we've been providing for the students, okay? And we're also going to send emails to the parents saying, hey, CEC classes are on. But just so you know, we plan on starting August 18th with classes, and we also plan on reaching out to students the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 17th to get them to know what the teacher's schedule is and have that type of interaction. So on the 18th, we're going to demand attendance in our CEC classes. 12th, 13th, 14th, and 17th, we're going to be working with families to make sure they have connectivity, that they have what they need, that they have if there's a textbook involved, or if there's a Google Meet room that they need to go to, they're going to know about it. And we're going to work on that. We're not going to slam kids with a bunch of curriculum the first August 12th, 13th, and 14th. We're going to work on connecting with them, finding out their needs, talking about what's going on, give them an overlay of the class, maybe share a syllabus or a program overview, talk about what they're going to learn, and talk about how they're going to learn. And then just know that on Tuesday, August 18th, if that's when their class meets on that Tuesday or Wednesday, that they are going to be expected to be there at least to see what they need to do and what their learning is going to be. And was there any other questions along those lines?
The couple of people asked questions about not having the appropriate software that's required for classes such as animation.
Okay.
And Lynn answered that teachers will improvise with alternates until we can get you access to the next necessary software. And I know for a fact, like for instance, for the digital film class, we just purchased the Adobe Creative Cloud software for all the students in Mr. Ross Nord's class. And he'll be giving you the information on how to access that so that you can do it from anywhere. So those are all issues that we'll be working out, but you'll need to be in contact with your teachers. So I keep seeing the same questions being asked over and over about CEC students not needing to attend on the 11th, 12th. Yes, you need to attend. You need to come. You need to check in so that you can find out what's going to be happening in your class, so that when your first day of actual curriculum being headed your way, you are prepared. You know how you're going to be dealing with it. Please don't zone out until the 18th because it's not real school, because you will not be prepared.
I agree. Yeah, we really do expect it. So I think it's important that parents and students know to go to our website to chase down their teacher if they need to, or send them an email. Teachers are going to be reaching out to students, and we're going to have a little bit of time, an opportunity to communicate virtually and meet our students, but we're not, this is not going to be one of those things where, September 1st, somebody's going to say, oh, well, I was signed up for this class, and by then it's too late. Okay. We're taking attendance, we're giving grades, and we're going to expect students to get ready. We're preparing kids for college and career. I felt we did a fantastic job in the spring, and I know we're going to do a better job now. There is a question. No, and so I did see something about in-person attendance. So there will be no in-person attendance for right now in our classes. It'll all be virtual. And so the teachers will reach out to their students to make that happen.
Except for nursing.
Nursing is an exception, but if your student's not in nursing, there's no use in talking about it. We've already worked it out with the nursing students. There are classes on our campus that are for certification, for accreditation or certification, and that they're a little bit of a different animal, and the PED is treating them a little bit differently. But we will talk separately with those classes, and we've worked around some of them. Okay, I do want to mention, in case any of you are EMT parents or students, okay, we did make a little bit of a change to the EMT class. It's not going to start as a UNM class in the fall. We're going to start, because of the lab portion of it, we're going to start it as a CEC elective credit like we've done in the past, and they will meet when their teacher tells them to meet, and they will learn everything that they were going to learn anyway, and that's basically units 1 through 4, but then we will enroll them in UNM in the spring. Okay, and we think that will be advantageous for any students that might struggle with the virtual learning or have some issues. They won't get crushed by a C or a D in 10 UNM credits. And so there will be an explanation of that going out soon to them. I did see something about platforms. Each teacher will talk with their class about the platforms they're using. Some CNM teachers are using Blackboard. I know some are using Canvas. There are multiple learning. They're called LMSs, so you might as well hear that acronym now. LMS, Learning Management System. It could be Khan Academy. It could be a Google class. It could be Canvas. It could be Blackboard. There's multiple ones. I saw another one earlier that someone's using. There's a lot of them out there. And so each teacher will clarify with their students that question or that platform.
Mr. Arguelles?
Yes.
I just want to add that several of our classes, auto mechanics, Spanish, French, nursing assistant, they also require enrollment at CNM.
Yes.
Links were sent to parents and students last week. There has been a lot of confusion. CNM changed their platform. So if you're struggling getting enrolled at CNM, because you're in autos or financial lit or Spanish or French, email me so I can help navigate that. We do have to have those students enrolled by the end of the month. They don't have to enroll in CNM, but if they want the college credit, they certainly do. So I know it's been kind of a mess, and I apologize for that, but we are working through those kinks. And if you're struggling or your student is struggling, just to reach out to me, because it's changed a bit, and I know some people were having a hard time getting enrolled. So there's a step-by-step process. It's not intuitive, but it is kind of laid out there. I can share that with you, and then if you get hung up or need help, we can work through that together. So again, just email me if you're having a hard time getting enrolled at CNM, and then the UNM classes, the EMT, the Chinese, computer science, we'll do all those in the spring. So we don't need
Thanks, Ms. Ramsey. That was a great explanation. I do want to say so I have Mr. Bland. He's in this chat also. Mr. Bland is our UNM EMSA Academy teacher. And so if anybody wants to ask him a question in chat or ask a question out loud, he can go ahead and chime in and answer any EMS questions that somebody might have if they need one.
So Boss, I definitely want Nathaniel to speak, but can you, because in the chat box now, there's some confusion about nursing, EMT, and then everything else. And when we're saying attend, when we mean virtually attend, versus there's only a few programs that are meeting beforehand. So if you could just clearly say that the start dates and the ones that are virtual attendance. Can you clarify those dates?
Well, yeah. So let's make this pretty simple. Every class, with the exception of the LPN nursing program, will begin virtually on August 12th or 13th. They'll receive information from their teachers, and they will be expected to begin introducing curriculum to students with assignments and things like that on Tuesday, August 18th. So at that point, that's when the grading starts and the attendance really gets hammered home. So everything's virtual except LPN for right now. So if you're not in LPN, the LPN nursing program, then everything that you do in all of August will be virtual at CEC. After that, it's going to change a little bit for some of our classes that require certification, and the teachers will discuss that with the students as quickly as possible. So please don't think that there's any face-to-face learning going on right now, with the exception of the LPN nursing program, which we have already received approval from many, many people. The Board of Nursing, the Department of Health, the PED, the governor, the president, everybody, they've all signed off. So we're good there. Those things have already been taken care of in discussions with LPN program, with parents, so we don't have to worry about it here. I hope I answered that question. All learning all learning is going to be virtual at least through August, okay? And we want your students to be very cognizant of who their teachers are and where they can get that information. Hence the staff directory that Ms. Estelle showed you. Rebecca, did I answer the question?
I believe so. I hope so. I don't see anything.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, good. Those are hard questions because it's one of those things we're really unclear. But just know that our teachers are going to reach out and the instruction is going to be good and amazing.
Maybe now's a good time to bring Nathaniel Bland about any EMT questions, if he's around.
I'm here.
Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Buddy.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nathaniel Bland. I'm one of the faculty lecturers over at the University of New Mexico, over at the EMS Academy. I know there's been a bunch of questions so far that a lot of folks have directed over to CEC about our EMT class. We're super excited. We are having it. Nothing really is going to be different in the outcome of that class, though obviously we have to make some adjustments for everything that's going on. So much like Mr. Aguilas has been saying, our entire first month is just going to be completely online. Now, due to the nature of EMT certification, we will eventually have to bring in our in-person stuff. But when we do that, it's being done in accordance with all of our health mandates, and again, will not be in person at all through at least the month of August. But that program, my EMT class, is starting next week. We're going to be beginning with getting everybody set up. There's not going to be any didactic or classroom material that first week. Getting everybody set up into our learning management system on the UNM side, making sure that everybody's registered and set up in there, has their books and so on. So I am happy to answer any particular questions that you guys may have for that. We are going to be using a combination of both synchronous and asynchronous learning, meaning that all of my lectures are going to be recorded and they're already in our Moodle classes waiting for folks to join up. But I will also be having synchronous lecture sessions that I do expect students to attend on that, simply because it's a very fast-paced class, and the best information is done in a way that students can ask me questions and answer back, especially with things as complex as the EMT part. But knowing that there's always technical issues, that internet access is a concern for folks, all of that material is provided in an asynchronous manner on our platform as well. So I really don't want anybody to be freaking out or worrying about what will happen if I can't get into a meeting on a certain day or something like that. Definitely going to be working with all of the students for that. So what questions, if any, do you guys have?
Mr. Bland?
Yes.
I did put in the chat that you and I are going to be working together to send a letter out to students with logistics and specifics with all that as well. So things that they might not know to ask will probably be in that letter as well. So we'll get that out tomorrow. And so if that comes up, just be looking for that if you're an EMT kiddo or parent.
Okay, cool. Somebody's got to have a question for Mr. Bland. He's so excited to answer it.
I am going to put.
Nope, sorry.
Because I am not an APS employee and do not have stuff in most of these staff directories, I am putting my email here into the chat in case anybody, if you're a EMT student or parent and need to get in direct contact with us, if you think of something in the middle of the night, I'm happy to address that as soon as I get up the next morning if it's in the middle of the night. But you guys can always contact me directly. Yes, I see somebody in the YouTube stream that had a question. Yes, we're not exactly sure how we're going to manage the textbook pickup for the EMT, but we will be figuring that out here in the next day or so. It was my understanding for that. But yes, the students will need a book for that class.
And so, Mr. Bland, I want to let you know that we are prepared to help you with that distribution. And so I might as well take a moment to talk about that. So for any of you parents concerned about textbooks or books, I saw some stuff in the YouTube channel. We will be providing textbooks for the classes that need them, or we will, in some of our world languages, they use readers and other smaller novels and books like that. We'll provide those also, and then we will check them back in. They go out clean, they'll come back in and we'll clean them and get them ready for the next person. So we're really good about that. We do have textbooks for EMT, but I'm not really sure if that's the ones that you're using. So we'll work that out with Mr. Bland, and we will have all of those available. Same thing with our certified nursing assistants and LPNs. They've been picking up books, and we're ready to go for them. And I don't know how many other CEC classes have books. I think anatomy and physiology does. So there's a few that do. A&P Physics, I believe, has a textbook. We'll make sure that we figure out a way for students to pick them up.
We did have a question, not for Mr. Bland, for you, about whether students would be allowed to take any CEC classes 100% online. And I'm assuming past the date when normally they'd be going to hybrid.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now as it stands, we have been, initially we were told that students that wanted to be 100% virtual would have to take those would have to be dropped from, actually we were told that they wouldn't be able to finish CEC classes. Now it appears that they may be able to. However, that does not apply to dual credit CEC classes unless the teacher has approved that. So I don't want any classes that are for dual credit. We must make an assumption that at some point they may be virtual. I mean, they may be face-to-face. I think about Mr. Bland and EMT. They've got hours of lab and clinical time that they need. Certified nursing assistants need 90 hours of lab and 45 hours of clinical. LPN, same thing. But as an example, automotive needs face-to-face time if they want to be if they want to receive dual credit. But if they don't want to receive dual credit and they just want to take an automotive class, they can take it for the entire year virtually. Okay, they just won't get dual credit for it. Spanish, I believe some of our languages will be totally virtual if necessary. I know that Navajo is 100% virtual this year, and that's for dual credit. And Zuni is 100% virtual for dual credit. So the reality is you have to be very specific about the class, and then we can let you know. And I am always available for that question, and I will get you an answer. You can email it to me or call me on my cell phone or text me, and I will find out for you. Okay, good question about Chinese, and will there be a textbook? I wish I could answer that question. I'm not even sure. We were in discussion with Ms. Xu about that. She's trying to do a virtual portion now, but eventually there may be a textbook required for that class.
I
We're not
answered
one of
Mr. Arguez. I think she has a workbook. I know she's working on moving that to online, but there is a workbook. And
Okay.
all of our teachers will be communicating if there's materials your student needs, and we will be making arrangements for you guys to get that. So don't add that to your stress. We'll make sure we're communicating that with you through your teachers and making arrangements for that to happen. So we're, not trying to keep anybody in the dark. Some of that stuff we're still trying to work out ourselves.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing. I will tell you that a few of our classes that are UNM classes in the engineering and the electrical and computer engineering department, those classes will not be dual credit until the spring semester, because they do require a little bit of a different technology than what we're capable of doing with Chromebooks. And so we're working on that. But so Dr. Wolverton will be teaching that class as a CEC elective class in the fall. And then in the spring, we'll enroll them in UNM, kind of similar to what we're doing with EMT, I believe. And so that should work out. However, some of each class is a little bit different. And guys, it's really hard it's hard because Spanish 1 is taught in the fall, and that's a CNM class, and they have to be registered for CNM in order to get the credit. And so we're going to work through that. A lot of our ethnic studies and curanderismo and Chicano and Chicana studies, those are UNM classes. They need to be registered for UNM for those classes. The teacher will communicate with you that information as quickly as possible. I believe that they've already been, I believe that our dual credit teachers have already reached out to most of their dual credit students. We've had this list for a couple of months now. So if you have a kid taking a dual credit class and you haven't heard from a teacher, please reach out to Miss Ramsey or me or Miss Florience. Boy, Mr. Bland is a fast typer.
Mr. Arguez, did you answer the question about a bus schedule? I stepped away for a second.
Oh, okay. No. So, all right. So, so every year CEC provides buses from the home high school to CEC and back. And when we go face-to-face, we will provide buses, okay? So last year we had over 85 buses a day come through our school. A lot of buses. But if you can believe this, of those 85 buses, only one bus was filled to the point where we would have to worry about social distancing on that bus. All the rest of the buses would not have required social distancing. Students could have their own row. I think that the bus company has said that there can be 2 to a row now, but we did not have this problem. And so we'll check, and we'll check every bus that comes in, but we will be providing transportation from the homeschool to CEC and back to the homeschool when we go to the yellow and we have face-to-face learning, week 1, A to L, week 2, M to Z. And we anticipate that they will be clean and socially distanced for all of those students. I saw a question about classes, but I couldn't read the whole question.
I think what somebody's asking is, are we going to do the classes every other week? And I think the answer to that is we're going to model what all the schools are doing. Once we go face-to-face hybrid after the 8th of September.
October, but go ahead.
We'll do the same schedule. So if you're an A kid, you might come one week, and you're a B hybrid group, you'll come the following week. And then teachers will supplement in between the times you're on campus with that asynchronous learning. So we're just going to model whatever APS is doing in terms of when kids are on campus and when they're doing virtual only. And that could change, but we'll still be doing whatever it is that APS does.
Thanks, so that was a great explanation. I don't anticipate us that changing very much. I do want to remind every parent and every student, just because they're not face-to-face doesn't mean that they're not going to have requirements and assignments. That's the asynchronous part of the learning for the most part. If they attended school week 1 on Tuesday and Thursday, on week 2, when their other half of their class is attending face-to-face class, they will be expected to check in. There is attendance required for our CEC classes. Dual credit's a little bit different. They will be required to check in and pick up their asynchronous assignment. They can do it whenever they want, but they got to get it. And then they can take some time to ask questions, visit the teacher during office hours, whatever. But one way or the other, they're going to be learning every single week in CEC, whether it's face-to-face or virtual.
So I think we still have some people who are confused about when school starts and what exactly is happening each day from the 12th on.
So I unfortunately cannot share anything with you because I don't have the schedule, but let me just tell you that I'm going to tell you right now. No, it's on my thing.
Okay.
Okay. Class starts Wednesday,
The 12th.
August 12th. And students will have an opportunity to go to a teacher's Google Meet room or Zoom. I think we've asked teachers to use Google Meet with classes. They'll be able to go to that meeting space, meet their teacher, and have some interaction on day 1. Okay, we're not going to be asking teachers to assign homework. In fact, we don't want them to, but we do want them to talk about the syllabus and what's the expectation for the class and how are we going to meet and how will we know what's asynchronous and what's synchronous and what does that even mean, and they're going to have some conversations with their students. So I will be sending out that schedule. I'm kind of looking at a tentative one right now. It's not going to be so for the first 3 days, we have 7:30 to 9:45 set aside for session 1 classes. But for the first 3 days, that period of time will be considerably less, but we will expect students to go to those rooms to meet their instructors, okay? All of that information will be available. We will send that out to parents. We will post it on the website. We will make it available to students as best we can, but ultimately students can come to our website and click on their teacher and go to their web page or go to that site and see what they have to do. Some of this is going to be students having to do a little bit of the work, but we're going to make it out there and available. Okay. I think we're just going to have to press through and do the best we can, but I do want you to know, and I'm sorry if I confused people, school starts on August 12th for CEC as well as ECA, as well as your home high school. Will you have to worry about doing an elaborate assignment on day 1? No, but you will be expected to show up and communicate with your teacher virtually. Yeah, I'm sorry. Show up virtually and communicate with your teacher. Anything else, guys?
There have been a couple of questions of people asking if there are textbooks. Staff returned yesterday, so you may not yet have heard from your teachers, but you should be hearing from them in the next few days. You obviously will not need a textbook on the 12th, since as Mr. Arguelles said, there's not going to be handing out assignments for grades on the 12th, but you should be hearing within the next week about what materials will be needed, either an email or student view message from your teacher or at the first virtual meeting with your teacher. Yes?
Yes. Yes, we will. We're going to do our very best to make sure that every student is communicating with. And you know, if students that are out there listening or parents, if there's any confusion at all, you know, they can call me or they can reach out to me and we'll go from there. We'll make it happen. So I did see I'm going to tell you, if you have any questions about the CNA, the Certified Nursing Assistant Program, please feel free to call me directly and I'll answer those. I could put you in touch with Miss Whitney, the director, and she can explain how that works. But those are some tough questions to answer for a whole huge group of people. But we'll get there. And then Sue, Lynn, Rebecca, if you guys can continue to help me with questions that are coming up because I don't see them.
I think you've been.
I saw somebody said something about calling and getting hung up on. Sorry, call my cell phone. I promise I won't hang up on you.
I think that was for C&M, Pat. And so what I'm telling folks is that C&M has a helpline. It's 247-3658. They're super helpful. They're probably slammed and busy. So Grace, if you got hung up, try them again. But they can give you a lot of that information over the phone. But I do know it's taken 3 or 4 days for them to process applications.
What is that number again?
247-3658. They'll ask some identifying information but they can do that over the phone if you haven't gotten the email. But
I put that on the YouTube helpline. And guys, for those of you guys that are on the YouTube piece, please thank you for your patience. We will get better at this. It's been an interesting process.
Mr. Arguelles?
Yes.
I have a question. Maybe you can answer it for me. The EMT, I know that there's fees for that. Will those not be due until like January if they're going to take it as a dual credit?
You know what? I'm going to kind of refer that one back to Mr. Bland. I would assume that, as in the past, parents can start making payments on the fees. But Mr. Bland, can you answer that?
So as far as us at the EMS Academy, we do not charge anything for this class. The UNM fees that are associated with it are indeed for the dual credit. And as Mr. Arguelles talked about at the beginning, we will not be having students register for that dual credit until the springtime, just to allow for things to happen. So the direct answer to your question is yes. Those fees will not be a concern until the spring comes around. We start registering those students for dual credit.
Thank you.
I will tell you though, just for what it's worth, from the experience that we've had the last few years, those fees are due when they're due, and they're a UNM fee. So there is no, we will help you now through the fall. If you want to make payments and set it up, we can put it in school. That check comes from me anyway. Those fees are paid to us, and then we pay them to UNM. I will help you if you want to set up a payment plan, and we put it into school pay. But when in the spring, when we say your fee is due, it's not our fee, it's not APS's fee or CEC's, it's UNM's. So when they say that fee is due, if it's not paid, that student is dropped. Okay? So please understand that. That's why we try to help parents as early as possible. Because I got to tell you, spending $30 every couple of weeks or every month, $40, whatever it is, over the course of 4 or 5 months, sure beats the heck out of having to fork out, I don't know, what, $184? Is that what it is, Mr. Bland? I don't remember.
I don't remember their dual credit stuff off the top of my head. I would have to go.
I think it's $184. So however you want.
184.
$184. So however you want, we'll work with you to set that up and get it paid for right away if you want. And the other thing cool is, let's say you pay it and then your student decides not to take the UNM piece, you'll be refunded that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have had several questions about specialized software needed for classes. And I know that, I think Lynn had answered earlier that the teachers are going to be working on alternate means of dealing with that need until such time as we can figure out how to get a laptop that has that program installed or whatever. but that particular question needs to be addressed by your teacher. So if you have those kinds of questions, please wait and ask your teacher those questions. And then somebody also said here that they know everybody has lots of questions about individual classes, but are there any other general pieces of information that everyone needs to know for the start of school before we get off onto tangents? Have we missed anything? That
I just want to say that I think the bottom line is, if you are needing to enroll at C&M, to reach out to me if you're having problems. And then I think Mr. Arguelles is right, that teachers will be emailing students within the next week, inviting them and telling them how to engage and start the class. So if it's not on their schedule, to let us know so we can make sure that it is there so they get that communication.
Right. So thank you, Lynn. So today was the first day back for teachers everywhere in Albuquerque. Okay. So many of our teachers weren't even able to access their class lists today, and we're working on that with the APS district. Okay. So we're still trying to sort through who's on our list, how do we communicate with them? But essentially, if you're here, there's a good chance that you've been communicated with by me because your kid is enrolled in a CEC class. That's a plus. Now, is it the right class? Maybe not. We're going to work on all of that. But if you have any questions, just reach out to us. But the teachers are going to reach out to you. And if you have a kid in a class and it is Monday and on the 10th, and your student still has not heard from your teacher, please reach out to me, Miss Ramsey, Miss Florience, and we will find out what's going on. I don't want a kid to come to me on August 24th and say, dang, I was enrolled for this class, but nobody's reached out to me. That's not how it works. You got to reach out to us right away. So please, if your kid has not been communicated with by Monday, please let us know and we'll take care of that. We'll make sure it happens. Okay? There are always glitches, and with this virtual situation right now, we anticipate more, but we want to take care of the students. And if you took the time to be here, that's a good sign for us.
somebody asked, I know teachers will be emailing the kids. Will they copy the parents so that we know what will be expected?
Probably not. Unless the teacher is using School Messenger, and then that's going directly to the parent. Typically, you're only going to hear from me and I try to communicate as often as possible. You'll hear from me. You're more than welcome to open up a line of communication with the teacher, but I do want you guys to understand that our job at CEC is to prepare students for college and career. And we try to teach them the soft skills they're going to need to get a job or to go to college. And we try to teach them the skills they will need to communicate with professors on their own. So even though we might have a 15 or a 16-year-old kid taking a UNM or a CNM class, we are trying to teach them the skill set they need to be able to communicate with that teacher, because technically that teacher does not have to allow you to communicate, does not have to communicate with you anything about their student, because they're college students. Even though they're in high school, they're still college students. And I know Mr. Blank could do a much better job of explaining that, but I just want you guys to understand, any privilege that we get in communication once school starts in dual credit classes is a plus, okay? As far as CEC elective classes, parents can reach out to the teachers anytime they want. I know that's a rough explanation, but it's the truth. We want to get your kids ready to be on their own, and we do a pretty good job of it.
All right, we're 6 minutes past our scheduled end time. I don't see any other unique questions.
Real quick question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is Keelan's dad, Anthony. So for the first day of school, it sounds like it's a week from today, and how kids will, so to speak, go to school is that they will receive before that day an email from their teacher that'll instruct them how to connect virtually. Is that basically it?
That's pretty close. Yeah, it might look a little bit different from class to class, but for the most part, that's the way it is. And I think that we're getting better at the opportunity for students and teachers and parents to get into some of these meeting rooms. So we're hoping that a teacher will have a document set up either on our website or on their own web page that they can reach through the staff directory. And so a kid taking pre-med on Tuesdays or how about vet med on Wednesday can go into that teacher's class, click on that link, and instantly be connected to their Google Meet room. That would be ideal, and that's what we're shooting for. If it's a Zoom room, I think I saw, or whatever platform they're using. Mr. Bland, what does that look like for EMT? What would a student do to connect to your class?
So I've actually been putting my touches on the letter to send out at the moment. What's going to happen is you guys are going to get an email from the folks at CEC, because I do not, and this kind of speaks to what Mr. Gray said, I actually don't have direct contact info for all of the students that are in there. So that goes out through CEC, and it has the link to the registration for our learning management system, and it also has our my Zoom meeting information in there. And so on the first day of class, on the 12th, all students will need to do will be to join that Zoom meeting, hopefully having registered with Moodle ahead of time, but if not, we'll get it done that day, and we will start getting everybody set up, and that entire first 3 days will be dedicated to making sure that everybody's registered, that everybody has the stuff that they need to begin the class the next week.
Beautiful. And so you heard a new word in there. UNM EMSA uses Moodle. And so the kids will get used to that, and it's a great platform. They're going to be fine. We have a variety of those platforms, and they'll be different for some of the classes, just like they will be at their home high schools. The cool part is that maneuvering through this stuff just makes them better prepared for life. I know many of you in your work situations have probably had Zoom meetings, go by I don't know, I think I've seen 6 different meetings that I've gone to, so there's a variety of them, so they're just getting used to that atmosphere. What else is there? Anything else before we shut? It really is late, and I know some of us are dying to go home. Me especially. I've been here since 5, so I'm ready. What else?
Some of us are home.
Some of you are at home. I'm not. I'm at school. So, okay. Well, in that case, then, if you have any questions, please reach out to me by email or by cell phone, text, or call. I've already received a ton of phone calls that I'll be returning tonight. We are so excited, so very excited to have your students in CEC. I can't even begin to tell you how much anticipation our teachers have to get at it and teach your kids something. So it's pretty cool. So we look forward to it. All right. Anyway, I thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Now, as I scroll through, I see new people that I would have introduced earlier. Margaret Hendricks. Anyway, thanks, guys. I am saying goodbye. Oh, did I hear a question?
Thanks, Pat. Have a good night.
Thank you. You're very welcome. I love some of your avatars, guys. I think.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll see you later.
Night.
Thank you.
So Pat, did you get all the questions that were on the YouTube answered?
I don't know. Sometimes they went so fast. It was really hard to say, but I feel like I got most of them answered. I did send out some emails. I'm looking on a Chromebook, so my screen is very small.
Oh.
So, and with my vision, you know how bad that is. It was really bad. So I tried to do the best I could.
Thank you,
And-
Nathaniel, for being here. That helps.
Of course,
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Mr. Bland, thank you.
And
He-
Len, you guys will have my thing tomorrow to send out to everybody. And,
Yeah, I just want to make sure you get something out to kiddos.
yeah,
So-
no, absolutely, absolutely. And if parents are emailing you directly or students are emailing you guys directly, please send them my way, and happy to make that happen.
I'm liking
Actually
the
gonna.
the Northern Lights behind you.
Yeah, I've kind of grown attached to that one since March. So it's kind of my constant
You're
companion.
growing.
Occasionally, my dog pokes her head in here, but
Noticed that earlier.
she wants dinner is what's going on. But actually, we're actually having a little bit of a co-instructor for me this at the beginning of the semester, because my daughter is due on the 14th. So
Oh my
we,
God.
yeah.
Congratulations.
So I'm gonna have to have a chat with her when she gets here to be like, you came at a really inconvenient week for that to happen.
Her wedding anniversary is the 14th.
Oh my goodness,
I've
that's
worked
awesome.
for APS for 22 years. We have not been able to celebrate our anniversary with anything exciting, like going out of town, or for more than 20 years. We picked the
You
wrong
have-
day.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a name, Daniel?
yeah, her name's gonna be Everly.
Everly.
Oh,
Yeah, we're super excited, and that's why I was like, well, I have to get me a co-instructor for the first little bit. But no, she's on board, and she's gonna be starting at the beginning with me as well. So
Awesome. What's her name?
Her name is Amanda Sandoval, and
Okay, cool.
she's
Well, make
in
sure
that
she
stuff
has
as
our
well.
contact information so she needs anything from us.
Yeah, I'm meeting with her tomorrow, and I'll make sure that she gets all of your guys' info as well.
Awesome.
And I'll include her on the emails that I sent you guys as well. So
You're wonderful. Is it your
Yes.
first baby?
number one.
Awesome. Your
So-
life is about to get rocked, sir.
That's what I hear.
You better sleep now.
My wife was bemoaning the fact that with COVID going on, and then with all of the stuff staying at home, she's pretty much going to spend all of 2020 in the house. So
Right.
You are about to enter on a journey of joy.
we are super excited. Not quite what we expected in the middle of a global pandemic, but
Bright spot.
that's what I'm saying. Be like, 2020 won't be all bad. Won't be all bad.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and Nathaniel,
Thank
reach out
you.
to us. All right, thanks. Good job.
You'll be
Pat.
hearing from me tomorrow.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
You
Thank
too.
you. You too.
All right,
Bye-bye.
all right. I'm going to go ahead and end, everybody.
All
I'm
right,
gonna go
darling.
home.
You guys tomorrow. Go home.